been working our way through the book of Deuteronomy, and here we are. We'll go ahead and do our catechism question of the week. We are at question number 49. Which is the fourth commandment? The answer, the fourth commandment is, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter or your male servant or your female servant or your livestock or the sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Exodus 20:8 through 11. Before we get to scripture reading, remember tomorrow we'll have a booth at the Riverfront Festival. That's in Surgoinsville. Also remember a week from tomorrow, next Saturday the 9th, that'll be at Bass Chapel. Pastor Trey Meek of First Baptist Rogersville will be talking about the Trinity, the doctrine of the Trinity, and why it matters. The next day, the 10th of September, we will be having our 75th anniversary celebration at Bass Chapel during the 11 a.m. service and immediately thereafter. And then looking forward to November, Deeply Rooted Conference. That'll be at Grace Point Fellowship in Kingsport. It'll be on Friday and Saturday this year. That'll be the 10th and 11th of November. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll read chapter 19 in Deuteronomy out of the LSB. When Yahweh your God cuts off the nations whose land Yahweh your God gives you, and you dispossess them and settle in their cities and in their houses, you shall set apart 3 cities for yourself in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your God gives you to possess. You shall prepare the roads for yourself and divide it into 3 parts. The territory of your land, which Yahweh your God will give you to inherit, so that any manslayer may flee there. Now this is the case of the manslayer who may flee there and live. When he strikes down his friend without premeditation, not hating him previously, as when a man goes into the forest with his friend to cut wood, and his hand swings the axe to cut down the tree, and the iron head slips off the handle and strikes his friend so that he dies, he may flee to one of these cities and live, lest the avenger of blood pursue the manslayer when his heart is angry and overtake him, because the way is long, and strike down his life, though he was not deserving of death, since he had not hated him previously. Therefore I am commanding you, saying, you shall set apart 3 cities for yourself. Now if Yahweh your God enlarges your territory, just as he has sworn to your fathers, and gives you all the land which he promised to give you to your fathers, if you be careful to do all this commandment, which I am commanding you today, to love Yahweh your God and to walk in his ways all your days, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3. So innocent blood will not be shed in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your God gives you as an inheritance, and blood guiltness be on you. But if there is a man who hates his neighbor and lies in wait for him, and rises up against him and strikes down his life so that he dies, and he flees to one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and take him from there, and give him over into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. You shall not pity him, but you shall purge the blood of the innocent from Israel, that it may go well with you. You shall not move your neighbor's boundary marker, which the ancestors have set, in your inheritance which you will inherit in the land that Yahweh your God gives you to possess. A single witness shall not rise up against a man on account of any iniquity or any sin which he has committed, at the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. a matter shall be established. If a malicious witness rises up against a man to accuse him of wrongdoing, then both the men who have the dispute shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges who will be in office in those days. And the judge shall inquire thoroughly, and behold, if the witness is a false witness, and he has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him just as he had intended to do to his brother. Thus you shall purge the evil from among you, and the rest will hear and be afraid, and will never again do such an evil thing among you. Thus your eye shall not show pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Deuteronomy chapter 20. If you go out to battle against your enemy and see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them. For Yahweh your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt, is with you. Now it will be, when you are drawing near to the battle, the priest shall approach and speak to the people. And he shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are drawing near to the battle against your enemies. Today, do not let your heart be faint. Do not be afraid, nor be alarmed, nor be in dread before them. For Yahweh your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. The officers also shall speak to the people, saying, Who is the man that has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. Who is the man that has planted a vineyard and has not begun to use its fruit? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man begin to use its fruit. And who is the man that is engaged to a woman and has not married her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man marry her. Then the officers shall speak further to the people and say, Who is the man that is afraid and whose heart is faint? Let him go and return to his house, so that he might not make his brother's hearts melt like his heart. Now it will be that when the officers have finished speaking to the people, they shall appoint commanders of armies at the head of the people. If you come near a city to fight against it, you shall call for terms of peace. Now it will be that if it agrees to make peace with you and opens to you, then all the people who are found in it shall become your forced labor and shall serve you. However, if it does not make peace with you, but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And Yahweh your God shall give it into your hand, and you shall strike all the males in it with the edge of the sword. Only the women and the little ones and the animals and all that is in the city, all its spoils, you shall plunder for yourself. And you shall consume the spoil of your enemies, which Yahweh your God has given you. Thus you shall do to all the cities that are very far from you, which are not of the cities of the nations nearby, only in the cities of these people that Yahweh your God is giving you. As an inheritance, you shall not leave alive anything that breathes, but you shall devote them to destruction. The Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as Yahweh your God has commanded you, so that they may not teach you to do according to all their abominations, which they have done for their gods, so that you would sin against Yahweh your God. If you besiege a city for many days to make war against it in order to capture it, you shall not destroy its trees by swinging an axe against them. For you may eat from them, and you shall not cut them down. For is the tree of the field a man, that it should be besieged by you? Only the trees which you know are not trees for food you shall destroy and cut down, that you may build siege works against the city that is making war with you until it falls. Deuteronomy 21. If a slain person is found fallen in the open country in the land which Yahweh your God gives you to possess, and it is not known who has struck him, then your elders and your judges shall go out and measure the distance to the cities which are around the slain one. And it shall be that the city which is nearest to the slain man, that is, the elders of the city, shall take a heifer of the herd, which has not been worked, and which has not pulled in a yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a valley with running water, which has not been plowed or sown, and they shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. Then the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for Yahweh your God has chosen them to minister for him, and to bless in the name of Yahweh, and every dispute and every assault shall be settled by them. And all the elders of the city who are nearest to the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer, whose neck was broken in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it. Atone for your people, Israel, whom you have redeemed, O Yahweh, and do not place the guilt of innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel. And the blood guiltless shall be atoned for them. So you shall purge the guilt of innocent blood from your midst, when you do what is right in the eyes of Yahweh. If you go out to battle against your enemy, and Yahweh your God gives them over into your hands, and you take them away captive, and see among the captives a beautiful woman, and set your affection on her, and would take her as a wife for yourself, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. She shall also remove the clothes of her captivity, and shall remain in your house, and weep for her father and mother a full month. And after that you may go in to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it will be that if you do not desire her, then you shall let her go wherever she wishes, but you shall certainly not sell her for money, and shall not mistreat her, because you have humbled her. If a man has two wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him sons, if the firstborn son belongs to the unloved, then it shall be in the day when he wills what he has to his sons. He cannot make the son of the loved the firstborn before the son of the unloved, who is the firstborn. But he shall recognize the firstborn and the son of the unloved by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the first of his vigor. The legal judgment for the firstborn belongs to him. If any man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his father or his mother, and when they discipline him, he will not even listen to them, then his father and mother shall seize him and bring him out to the elders of the city at the gateway of his hometown. Then they shall say to the elders of the city, This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not listen to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his city shall stone him, and he will die. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear of it and fear. And if a man has committed a sin, the judgment of which is death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his corpse shall not hang all night on the tree, but you shall surely bury him on the same day, because cursed of God is he who is hanged, so that you do not make unclean your land, which Yahweh your God gives you as an inheritance. Reading through the law, reading through Deuteronomy, which means second law, you see all these pictures of Jesus. You see the redemption. We see the blood guiltness and the innocent blood being shed. And then you see right here at the end of chapter 21, this was Jesus who was hung on a tree. And according to the law, his corpse couldn't hang on overnight. That's why Joseph and Nicodemus took him down before dark to bury him. But it also says, cursed of God is he who hangs on a tree. And we see that quoted in the New Testament. Hey, thanks for joining us. If the Lord wills it, we'll see you tomorrow at the Riverfront Festival. If not, then we'll see you Sunday school, 10 a.m., corporate worship, 11 a.m., and y'all have a great weekend. Goodbye.